I heard that. And Jim will fix it before 2021. Do people hear me? Is my mic working? And yes. Audio, okay. Well, see, we started off with me in my office, and yet my system seemed to be so slow. I said, let's go down with him. And then plugging me in messed up his audio. Well, let's see. Says that I'm coming through loud and clear. So that's good. And I guess I will just give it a shot here. So we had lots of people write in questions beforehand, but I figure people who came live, I figure you have kind of a priority. Let me see what we got here. The first one, should I just click on it, Jim? Or yeah, I can just go like so. Norman Bauer says, we're having difficulties getting all our photos on Goggle Photos. I type it that way a lot too. We think they are exported, but when we look, they're not there. Not quite sure what you mean by exported, but it depends on where the photos came from. If they're on your phone, then you need to turn on the backup and sync. And if they're on your computer, then you need to manually upload them or use the backup and sync, another thing. So if you want to clarify what you mean by we think they are exported, but when we're not there. So the way to know if your photos got uploaded to Google Photos is go to Google Photos on the web, on the computer, where you are looking directly at the cloud copy. Okay, let's see what else. Yes, Merry Christmas, Warren, and Merry Christmas, Bill. And Bill, you submitted a question beforehand. Let me see if I can find that and pull it up. There we go. What can you tell us about the Google outage on 12/14? And I think it should be a wake-up call for backing up and cleaning our Google accounts. Having alternatives is wise. Absolutely. For if you don't know what Bill is talking about on, I guess it was December 14, if he says so, early in the morning. So you might not have noticed it. I think it was about on East Coast time, it was about 6:30 a.m. to 7:30. Google services were down globally. It was pretty amazing. It had to do with their authentication system. So it was just for systems that you had to sign in. If you had to sign in to get to your stuff on Google, it wasn't there. You just got error messages on Tuesday morning. So it happens. They have huge systems. But yes, it's a wake-up call. You should never, anything that's really important to you, like your pictures, you should never just trust one source. I think Google is the best single source, but I make sure that I have a copy of my pictures, my important pictures, on my hard drive, and I make an extra backup to Microsoft OneDrive. And if you have the book, that's covered in chapter 6, and the title of that chapter is How to Keep Your Photos Safe, I think. Let me see, what does it say? Keep your memories safe. And that's all about using the right tools and having alternatives. All right, so who else is here? We get back to comments. There we are. And Merry Christmas, Mead. And thank you for telling us that you couldn't hear us. And yes, Jim's still working on his, but it's because I messed him up. It's always because I messed him up, We can't blame Michael on this one, so he has to be able to blame me. I don't hear you yet. Let me get one more question, and then we'll see. So I thought I saw one right here. looking for the square, turning on captioning. There you go. Well, another question that came in over email. Well, here we go. Here's one that's not really about Google Photos, but I just want to address it since KM benefits. You think maybe you had a premium membership with Geeks on Tour, but you're not sure if it's expired. The best thing to do, Jim's really good at handling these things. And if you want to know if your membership is current and be reminded of your username and password, just go to geeksontour.com and click the Contact Us, and Jim will get back to you. Okay. And Schwab submitted a question. Okay, yes. Have that.
Hey, Chris, are you hearing me now?
Nope, not through the computer. But is my sound on? Yes, it is. Anybody else here, Jim? Schaefer, Lars. There, Lars Schwartz. Previously, I gave my PC photo files a descriptive PC file name. When my photos went into Google Photos, that information appears to have disappeared. Is it recoverable? I don't. If you're talking actually about file names, let me go to so I'm going to share screen, Jim. Let me go to my Google Photos and talk about file names.
Let's see. Is it working now?
Yeah, but I hear echo, but that might be on my side. So here are my Google Photos. And if I go way back to like 2004, I used to change the file name on my computer before I uploaded them to, it was Picasa Web Albums back then. See, now here's my problem. My computer is just so slow. Anyway, if you renamed a photo file on your computer and then upload it to Google Photos, it should still have the same name. So let me see if I open this, and you see that in the info panel. So I open a photo, and here, so 2007-0321_FMCA13. So I absolutely renamed that photo when it was on my computer. And when you upload it to Google Photos, it keeps that name. The problem, if you are one who likes to rename your files, you just can't do that in Google Photos. There is no provision for renaming, for changing that file name. So you get whatever your camera named it or whatever you renamed it on the computer. And that should, I mean, that stays, that follows your file up to Google Photos. Right? So are you there, Jim? Jolin says, View is a great way to do bulk renaming. Well, just Windows. You can do bulk renaming in Windows. It's no problem, but your photos have to be on your computer. You know, so if you use Google Photos the way I think it was intended to be used, meaning you take all your photos with your phone and they go straight up to Google Photos, and then you can download any important ones. But step one is they all go up to Google Photos. You can't rename them there. All right, when I change the date of a photo on Google Photos on my PC, it does not always change on my Pixel 3a. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Those are unanswerable questions, you know, when sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It sounds to me, though, that your synchronizing isn't synchronizing. So if you rename it, it only renames on the cloud copy. You know, that doesn't synchronize down to the actual photo. That is one of those metadata items that when you change it in Google Photos, you're just changing it for the Google Photos database. You're not writing to the metadata of the photo. And that, I hope, changes someday. I hope changes someday soon. Because when I change a date on a photo, I want it to stick. When I download that photo to my computer, the changed date goes away. I'm back to the original. So that might be what's happening with you. All right. What if you rename the same file and upload it again? Is it a duplicate that would be ignored? Yes, I'm pretty sure, because Google Photos just doesn't even see file names. If all you did is change file names, I expect that would be, test it. That's what I do. That's what I do with all of these things. I have a question. I figure out a way to implement my question, but I'm pretty sure that would be considered a duplicate, would not be uploaded a second time. I keep getting a message, OneDrive is full. How do I check? Well, OneDrive is Microsoft's. That's not Google Photos. So you would go to OneDrive.com on your computer and log in with your Microsoft account. And that's where you would find the information about how much space you have paid for on OneDrive. How can I see how many photos I have? Oh, and I think Chuck Parker also had that question. And he said that when he looks, well, let me show you. So I'll go to my screen share, Jim. And if I go to my Google Photos, Google account, no, the Google dashboard. So, and it's a long URL, so I just search for Google dashboard. And there it is. And make sure you are logged into the account that you want to see. And as you scroll down, you will see information about all of your services on Google. And here is photos. But I guarantee you, I do not have 225,600 photos. So here's the deal. Google can't count. I've said this many times. It also tells me that I have 7,118 albums. Now, I make a lot of albums, but not 7,118. When Google Photos uploads in the background, it makes an album for every day. So that just doesn't count. And if you do have photos in multiple albums, they count once for each album that they're in. So Chuck Parker, you said that you figured out how on your Android phone, and I can show that, how to get a count. So here's my Android phone, and I'm just going to show you a different way of counting, and I have a video on this too. If on my Android phone, and hopefully it will get there. Nope, not going to do it. If you go to Gmail on an Android phone and ask Gmail to attach a photo and choose Google Photos, it will give you an accurate number. And as I say, I do have a video on that. And if you send a contact me, I'll send you a link to that video. Gail says, I take pictures with a digital camera 99% of the time and load them on my HP laptop with Windows 10. how does that change everything you are saying about using just the phone? Yeah, it just changes the direction. Yeah, I'm not sharing screen anymore. No, Jim, or I guess I can do that, huh? What I'm saying is if you take all your photos on your phone, which I do now, I still have a digital camera, but I don't use it. The photos go automatically to the cloud. I work with them there. I make albums of my best and I download the albums to my computer. So they go up first and then just the best ones come down. If you go to your computer first, then maybe you would choose to upload just the best ones. So it's just a direction of the flow. My workflow goes step 1 to the cloud. Step 2 is picking my best and working with them in the cloud. Step 3 is downloading my chosen photos to my computer. And you're saying you're just going the opposite way around. All right. Bill wants to know, what's the video number? Let's see if I can find it. So on our website, if you just go to geeksontour.com and tutorial videos, and there we go, tutorials and all videos. And you're going to see 600 and some odd of them. So let's see if I can just search. Control F to search. And how do I get, you're not seeing that. There we go. So Control F to search, and I'm just going to search for the word count and hope that I have that in the title. Not that one, not that one, not that one. There. Number 517, a trick to get photo count in Google Photos. So that's okay. And back to me. And KM Benefit says, what is your favorite basic photo editing program? Things like removing objects, basic filters, blemishes, create a collage. All of these things would be for a print job from home for last minute gifts. I use Google Photos for my basic photo editing. I mean, I can definitely make pictures look better. Then if I want to go further, if I want to remove blemishes, I use Snapseed. That's still on the phone. Now, if you want to be using a computer, there's web-based tools like Pixlr, Pixlr. And for a print job from home, you mean you want to print from your printer for last minute gifts? I don't know. When I create gifts for using my photos, I use Google Photos. You can make these great books or wall hanging canvas prints, or just buy your family member one of these things. All right, how do I get rid of that? Do I just, there we go. Yeah, one of these. And this is a hub, a Google Nest Home Hub Max. And it will display my favorite Google Photos. It's a photo frame all the time. And that's just my favorite way of doing gifts. I also still use Picasa sometimes. If I want to make a collage, Picasa is still the best collage maker. So Picasa doesn't work for any back and forth between the web anymore. But if you have pictures in Google Photos that you want to make a collage of, and you want something fancier than the super simple collage that Google Photos makes, just download them. And I do have a video on that. You could search on Geeks on Tour video page for collage, and you will find all sorts of stuff about making collage with Picasa. All right, I better get to some of the ones that came in. I had Picasa, but seem to have lost use since my update. Yes, you know, I can't say that I really recommend to use Picasa anymore. It is old, it is dead software. But if you are very comfortable with it, which I am, and if you're a Geeks on Tour member, we have the installation file for Windows. It doesn't work at all on Mac anymore. But if you have Windows, you can install Picasa and use the local features of Picasa. You can probably find the installation file somewhere else as well, but we do have it available for our members. Okay. Now we did have some more questions that came in before. How you doing, Jim? You want? Okay. You oh, just wondered if we could hear you yet. If
I don't know. I'm here. Can you hear me?
all right. Yes, we do hear you. Shall I come back down now?
Oh, sure, if you want to. I'm sure we can break something else.
We say up and down. That's because my office is upstairs and his is downstairs. Here is one that I wanted to talk about. Chuck Barker. I have 2 albums with many photos in each, but I want to move to just one album. I think I understand you correctly. So you have album A and album B, and there is in Google Photos, and there is no command to merge the two, but what you do is just select all the photos from album A and click the 3-dot menu and add to album and select album B. Now you have all the album A photos in album B, and you can delete album A. Hope that made sense. Oh, and here's the one about, yeah, your dashboard says you have 75,000 and your Android Gmail app shows 36,900. The Android Gmail app is the correct one, or at least closer to correct. Okay. So, and here's one I wanted to, I'm just bouncing around here. George Harding, I find that I have 3 email accounts with pictures in each. Oh no. That is such, now I so advise people to be careful with their accounts. Try to only have one, or at least only have one that you use. But if you have determined that you have more than one and you want to get the photos from one to the other, kind of like what I just said with albums, you'd find the information in chapter 2, I think. No, chapter 1 about your Google account. In chapter 1 about your Google account, and page 15, I'm pretty sure. Let me just check here. Page 15, copying photos to another account. So, and it tells you log into account A and use the shared library feature and share everything with account B. And in account B, select the option to save everything that was shared with you with account A. Now, that works really well. I'm actually quite impressed that they have such an easy way to get all the photos from one account into another account. However, albums will be lost. So if you need to choose which account to keep, make it be whichever one has the most albums, or if you can. Just know that albums will not transfer over, just the photos themselves. Did you have something you want to pick a question, Jim?
No, I haven't been really paying attention.
Okay.
I haven't really been paying attention to what you've been talking about, except for these last few. So, yeah, pick them on out.
All right. This was an interesting one. I'm afraid to delete photos. I have too many pictures, but when I think about storing them elsewhere, I'm afraid I will lose them. I hear you. I hear you. Deleting is scary, but two things. Well, three. First of all, chapter 6 in the book. It's called Keeping Your Memories Safe. And the first thing I talk about is deleting. Be careful with deleting. Make sure you understand what it is you're deleting. Are you deleting just the copy of the photo on the device? Are you deleting it from the cloud? Are you deleting it from everywhere? Secondly, you don't have to delete. I don't. We went to New Zealand last year. Many of you have seen some of our pictures on that. And there's this great place where they filmed The Hobbit, and it's so photogenic. And I probably took a dozen pictures of one hobbit hole. Is that too many pictures? Yeah. But do I want to spend time deleting any of them? No, I like them all. So I say, just keep them all. Don't worry about it. To prevent having to sort through all those dozens of duplicate photos, just pick your best one and put in an album. And it's that album that I download to my computer. It's that album that is my permanent memory. It's that album that I will bring up to show other people my photos. So now, with the fact that come next June, Google Photos will no longer be unlimited for free, I might change my tune a little bit. But as of June 1st, everything will be free, and I start counting up after June with new photos after June 1st. So it's only $2 a month for 100 gigabytes. So it's really, I don't think I will change my tune. My tune is, don't worry about deleting. Don't worry about having too many photos. Just pick your best and put in albums, and those are the photos that you look at. All right. Oh, and speaking of next June, this I thought was a question that needs answering. Kent Robert says, if I stay below 15 gigabytes is what Google gives everybody for free for Gmail, Google Drive, and Photos. Even after June 1st, is that free, or is there a charge for anything I add to the account after June 1st, even if I stay below the 15 gigabytes? No, if you're below 15 gigabytes, you're within the free storage space that Google gives you. And I still recommend using the high quality. Right now, just in case you're not aware, right now, you can upload your Google Photos in two sizes. One is original, that's the biggest. Second is high quality, which gets compressed to about half the file size. And high quality is high quality. I have printed 8x10s. It maintains all of your resolution up to 16 megapixels, and it just compresses them a little bit, squeezes the air out. So even after next June 1st, I highly recommend using the high quality, and you'll be able to last quite a while with the 15 gigabytes that's given you for free. And anything you upload before then is grandfathered in for free. So if you need a deadline, now is the time to upload all those old pictures that you've been putting off. Get it done before June 1st, and then you can start using your 15 gigabytes. Okay. Any new, let me see from the people who are alive. I don't want to forget about you. Pixlr. Lots of comments on Pixlr, and and if you want to learn more about Pixlr, you might want to check out Michael Daniels' YouTube channel, just Michael Daniels, and he teaches on Pixlr. Okay, let's see. Bert Minton, during our family events, we all add our photos to one of my shared Google albums. My question is, how do I edit photos others have shared in one of my albums? I don't seem to be able to do that. Yeah, that's a pain. But think about it. Their photo that they put into your shared album, it's really just a link to their photo. So if Google allowed you to edit that, you would be messing with their stuff. So that's why you can't do it. What you need to do is save their photo to your library. That makes a copy, and that will be your copy. But now that's in your library, it's not in the album. The shared album still has your friends linked. So, but hopefully that makes sense. If you want to edit a photo that somebody else put into your shared album, you need to save it to your library. Then you need to open that copy that is saved in your library. Then you can edit it. Oh, okay. Ed says it took a lot longer for him to get his book. I still did not get mine, so you still haven't gotten it? Those have trackings on them, don't they, Jim?
They do have tracking. Yes, I'll check into that because, yeah, I remember sending those out. That was the one that was specially autographed. I remember.
Yeah, and there was one of two and two of two, but they were in separate packages. Yeah,
They were going to different places.
they went out the same day. So here's one for you, Jim. Since you're the GoPro guy, would you recommend using Google Photos for GoPro videos?
Not necessarily. GoPro, I do upload some of my GoPro videos up to Google Photos. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I like to edit my photos or my videos, so I will upload edited videos that I've worked on my computer. I really don't care for the video editing stuff that's built into Google Photos. So, but uploading clips, it depends on how you work with your GoPro videos. I take a lot of underwater videos, so I tend to put those just on my computer, edit them there, and then when I'm finished with them, I'll typically upload them to both YouTube on my own private personal channel and up to my other Google Photos. But after June 1st, if you are counting that 15 gigabytes after June 1st, that'll start to add up pretty quick, I would expect.
Okay. Where did it go? I think it's this one. Yeah, Google mentioned, so Nancy Graham asks, Google mentioned providing a way to easily delete duplicates and unwanted photos when they make the change. Anything about that? Well, let me show you what they have done so far and where you will find, assuming that they give us more tools. And I do hope they do. So let me go, let me share, do my share screen, Jim. And if you go to your Google Photos, and then click on your account button. Come on. Click on your account button in the upper right. I clicked on it, honest. It's just being that laggy. There, and manage your Google account. So manage your Google account. And that takes you to where all these tools will be. And then you see account storage. Now notice I'm already paying for 100 gigabytes, $2 a month, no big deal. And so you click there on account storage and see where it says get your space back. Click there, free up account storage. And right now, they are giving us tools to identify large items. So it's telling me if I'm interested in deleting my biggest videos on Google Photos, I would free up 6.2 gigabytes of space. This is where I expect, I can't say for sure, but this is where I expect to see a lot more tools as we get closer to June 1. I hope that they come up with some kind of duplicate finder, although there's lots of issues with that. I do expect, somebody asked this question there. Yeah, I do expect them to come up with, Bruce Jones asked this question. Is there an easy way to locate the photos not in an album? No, there's not. Let me explain what the point is. Like I said, that I don't believe in deleting pictures. I believe in picking my best and putting them in an album. If I really did need to delete all the ones that are not my best, then I would want a tool that allows me to delete pictures that are not in an album. That tool does not exist right now. Maybe, and if you all know about feedback, right? If you go to Google Photos and click on the help and feedback, and under feedback say, I want this tool, and describe the tool that you want. Okay, and our photos, or photos that are in more than one album. Nope, no such tool right now. Okay. Gary Sandberg, do videos get shared the same as pictures via Google Photos? Yes. I tried to create a link and share via email, but it did not play. Well, I'm not sure there. Maybe if does the person that you shared with via email, do they have Google Photos? It might be, I mean, you don't need to have Google Photos in order to just share photos and videos, but to play the videos, maybe that sounds like an issue with the player. Yeah, that's a video player issue, which might be solved if they have Google Photos. And Google Photos showing 0 in my storage. That's perfect. And let me show you where that is. Back on my Google Photos storage. Manage your storage, free up space. Yeah. Now just my account. myaccount.google.com, and then account storage, and it should tell you right at the top. No, all right, further down. Okay, come on, where does it tell me this? You've got 102. Somewhere it tells you how much. There we go. Storage over there on the left-hand menu. There we go. And it says Google Drive on my account. And really, I haven't been careful lately. I'm paying for the 100 gigabytes. And so if yours says 0 under Google Photos, that means that you are using all high quality, because the high quality does not count, period. So that's why it will, if you have all high quality, it will be 0. And if, like me, you see that you have some storage being used by your photos and you thought you were using all high quality, you can get that back by going to your Google Photos, and on the gear for settings, you'll see a button. This button right here, if you are not paying for extra storage, this button will say recover storage. I am paying, so I get manage subscription. But if I wanted to recover my storage, I say, hey, before June 1st, I want to make sure that all of my stuff is in high quality and is using 0 space right now. I can just click on high quality here and it will say, oh, do you want to recover all your existing photos that are at original quality? If I click there and click confirm, it will retroactively go compress all of my past content so that I will be using 0 Google Photos storage. And that is what you want. Okay. And Joanne, can you show us how to save an album to the laptop? Yes. Back to sharing screen. And I'm in my photos. I go to my albums and I pick an album whenever it comes up. So my life. So 146, I have 100,000 pictures, but I've only identified 146 of them that document my whole life. And if I open that and click the 3-dot menu up at the top right, 3 dots, and download all, that creates a zip file wherever I tell it to go called My Life, and it will have all of these pictures in it. And that is absolutely what I do here. And I have a video, I have a detailed video on doing this, but let me show you as long as I'm here how this helps me sleep at night. Because, oh, come on, move. Oh, well, you're just going to have to trust me. I can't get my screen to cooperate. That I have a zip file for every month of every year for the last 20 years. And yes, I sleep very well at night, knowing that I have those. Okay. Sometimes Google Photos doesn't see a face in a photo, even a portrait photo. How can I change this? And I'm not going to be able to show you. Let's see. If Google Photos doesn't see a face at all, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. There's no command to say, hey, Google, there's a face here. There's no way to just make a square around a face. However, if it has seen a face, but it hasn't identified it, hasn't put it in the people, then you can do that manually. And I have an article and I think a video about it. Go back to share screen. And if you go to our special just learngoogle.photos.com website, learngoogle.photos.com, and if you just scroll down and you'll get to the blog part of it. And here are all the articles. And not too far back, there is a manual face tagging article. So I just went back to the next screen. There we go. Google Photos and manual face tagging. And you'll see what I mean by, and then read more. Yeah. So in this photo here, if you click on the eye and under people, notice this picture has 3 faces in it, but only 2 of them pop up. When you click the little pencil, it then puts a square around all 3 faces, and you have the option to add that 3rd face. But if after you click the pencil, the 3rd face doesn't even have a square around it, that's when there's just nothing you can do. All right. Bert Mitten, wow, you guys are full of questions here. How are we doing? We're still within the hour. I'd like to verify that removing all photos from Google Drive would not impact how much space I'm using, so no reason to remove them. And what's the best way to get all my other photos on Drive? Google Drive is a completely different story. It is no longer linked to Google Photos at all. That's what I thought your question was going to be. You can delete from Google Drive. It will not affect your photos in Google Photos. Whether or not they're taking up space depends on how they got into Google Drive. But you can definitely see. Let me see if I can share screen here. So I'm going to go to Google Drive. And I will look for some photos in my Drive. And when you click on a photo, you can see the info, over on the right-hand side. So let me find, there. This is a folder of photos. And when I click on a photo in the folder, then I should see details about that photo over in the right-hand side. And notice that it says storage used 17K. Now that's not much, but it's not 0. So you need to know. Now this is because these photos were added directly to Google Drive with Google Drive tools. If they were added using your Google Photos backup and sync with high quality, then they will have 0. But so that's the answer. If they have 0, then deleting them won't matter. If they are taking up space, then yes, deleting them will free up space. Richard Furman asked, will the My Life album that I just demonstrated a minute ago, I demonstrating downloading My Life album, will the photos be in the order you created it? Good question. Good question. I'm really not sure on that one. I need to look at that because I do that backup just for disaster, just so that I can sleep at night. I don't really ever unzip them or look at them because everything's still fine in Google Photos. It would be only if catastrophe happened in Google Photos and I needed them that I would go back and look at them. But I know that a lot of people have that question. I think it might be a problem. Yeah, if I had manually sorted them in Google Photos, then they might not keep that sort order in the download. Okay, what services would you recommend to scan a shoebox full of old photos? Well, first of all, let me say that I'm not real picky. So I've done a speech a couple times about organizing photos and getting your old photos, and you need to know where you are on the scale of how picky you are about your photos. Are you a 1, and just so that you can see them, you're good, or are you a 5? They need to be perfect. I'm a 2 or a 3, so I will go through my shoebox of photos. I'll find a good lighting situation. I'll put them down and I'll just take my phone and snap a picture of the photo. How nice is that? Because my phone took it, they'll automatically get uploaded to my Google Photos. All is good. But if you want to know that you have the best quality, I recommend, and I'd say that quality is really pretty good. But here, there has anybody heard of the photo organizers? I think their website is called photomanagers.com. And these are professional photo managers. In fact, if any of you out there are really into photos so much that you want to help other people put all their photos together and manage them, you might consider becoming a professional photo organizer. And they have lots of recommendations for the best services. But I still say try just snapping a photo with your phone. You might be surprised at how good they come out, especially after just a couple of tweaks with the Google Photos editing. And if glare is a problem, then Google makes another free app called PhotoScan. And we have videos on that. PhotoScan, you don't just snap one picture of your picture, you snap 5, and PhotoScan puts them together in a high quality, glare-free image on your phone. So, okay. Date order on them. Will using the snipping tool make a single picture from the computer and uploading it get the face to recognize? Well, okay. What I think you're talking about is trying to force Google Photos to see a face. If you crop the picture to just that one face and make an extra photo out of it, good thought, try it. Other people have asked me, just Google Photos isn't recognizing faces. What can I do? Well, there's the one thing that you can do is just take more photos of that person. Yes. And maybe make collages and add to albums. The more activity Google sees on pictures, the more attention they pay to those pictures. How we doing? But sometimes, okay, let me go back and see if there were any that came in beforehand that I haven't gotten to. So Bill did that one. Afraid to delete duplicates, staying below. Yes, Bud Keith. This was an interesting one. Now, he sent in this question, but I needed to know more. So he and I had a back and forth before today. My question is, when I take a picture, how do I stop it from automatically going to Google Photos? I have backup and sync shut off as recommended, but it continues to upload to Google Photos. Well, what he and I figured out is that no, they were not being uploaded, but they did show up in his Google Photos app. You take a picture with your phone, Google Photos will see it. It acts just like a gallery. It is a substitute for your gallery app. When you start using Google Photos, they expect you to not use your gallery app anymore. You use Google Photos. Google Photos can then, if you have backup and sync on, make a copy of your phone's photos to the cloud. So that was step one. He had backup and sync turned off. They were not being uploaded, but he still saw the pictures when he opened up Google Photos. For some reason, I really don't quite understand, Bud, but he did not want to see them. So on an Android, he has the option of moving photos out of the camera folder and into some other folder that Google Photos will not see. So that was the answer to his question. Here's one. How do I back up my photos from Google Photos to my external hard drive? One way is what I showed earlier, is put all the photos you want backed up into an album, tap the three dots and download all. If you want, and then specify your hard drive as the location that you want them to be downloaded to. If you just want Google Photos to download all your pictures, that's what Takeout is for. But I don't like it. There's a few tricks, and I did my latest video. So if you go to geeksontour.com and tutorial videos, the one right on top is my suggestions for using Google Takeout to make it a little more manageable. But if you just want a backup of all your photos, Google Takeout is the tool that they give us. I don't seem to be able to, this was an interesting one. I don't seem to be able to just print a picture on my printer from the Google Photos app. Why is that? And how do you print a picture from their app? You don't. Printing, print services are just not part of Google Photos. If you really do just want to print a picture, well, you bring it up on your computer, it's in a browser, and your browser has a print command. Now, you can't tell it what size, you can't tell it what kind of paper, you can't tell it what bin to take it from, but it will print what you're seeing on your browser screen to your printer. But the printing services that Google Photos gives us are wonderful. If you open a picture and click the three dots, I think, and just say print shop, is that what it's called? You have the choice of just ordering prints, and you can do that to Walmart, Walgreens, or CVS and pick them up within the hour, or have them sent to a CVS by your family member, and they can go and pick them up. And they're beautiful, and they'll be much higher quality than anything you can print on your own printer. Okay. Yeah.
Just looking at the time.
Okay. Well, I think we're pretty good.
I think we are too.
Yeah, lots of questions and answerable within an hour. Let's see, there are a couple new things came in. Okay, I want to I want to scan all old photos to preserve them. Most old ones are fading. They're a lot. Would be a lot of work to do manually myself. That's why I want to pay someone else to do it. Well, I would recommend let me see. I think it's the Photo Managers. Yeah. Yeah. Here, share my screen, Jim. You know, I am all about doing things easy, doing things yourself, and not stressing about it too much, and using Google Photos. But there is, as I say, a whole profession of people who are there to help if you have higher standards than I do. Okay. I think we've reached the end. If there were any that came in by email before that I didn't get to during this session, I'll look over those and answer them in the email. Meanwhile, yeah, happy holidays.
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, subscribe to the channel and thumbs up and all that good stuff. And get the book.
Oh, that took too long. But anyway, it's really good to see you all. Thanks for coming by. And we hope that you do have a really nice holiday. And I guess we can go ahead and end this broadcast, huh?
I think so.
All right. Good job, sweetie.
Thanks. Bye.